Well, let me say a couple things. No, in terms what we're focused on, as you know, is building Canada strong. It's putting Canada in a better position for Canadians, for all Canadians. Now, it happens to be the case that we are stronger and we're in a better position than we were 18 months ago, because we've recognized right from the start that we needed to focus on building at home, we needed to diversify abroad. Both of those have longer payoffs, but we're already starting to see some of the benefits of that. We recognized, and credit to the Minister of Finance, we recognized right from the start that we need to continue to maintain the strongest fiscal position in the G7, so that our borrowing, and we will borrow, but borrowing for investment, not for operating expenses, and that shift in borrowing there. And let me make this point, because the last part of your question, you know this well, that we are entering a phase where fiscal strength, discipline, focus is going to be very important. It's going to be scrutinized. I mean, it doesn't, I will say to Canadians at home, like as someone who's been in and around financial markets for a long period of time, what I'm about to say doesn't make sense, but it's the way the world works, is that markets sometimes ignore these fundamentals, and then all of a sudden they focus on them. And when they focus on them, if you don't have your house in order, it's too late. We have our house in order, and we're getting stronger. So.
Next question.
Hi, Prime Minister. Tom Parry with CBC. Can you talk more about what the United States was demanding Canada do with its other trading partners? Were they asking us to impose tariffs on other countries in conjunction with them?
Tom, there were elements of that, and in certain sectors. And to be clear, there were elements where we would see the merit of that as part of a comprehensive deal that made sense for Canada. So if you have an integrated auto market and you want to have an integrated steel market, for example, related aluminum market, then and you have concerns, as we do, as the Americans do, about non-market economies, about transshipment of steel, for an example, through third countries, et cetera, then it makes sense to align, and I would say that, again, within a comprehensive deal, we'd be prepared to do that. But that's us deciding to do something that is in our joint interests, as opposed to being told to do something or being restricted from doing something else. Now, the second point is there are a series of steel and aluminum related. By the way, if you do that, though, you should have an integrated market. In other words, the tariff level that you apply from Canada into the United States, because America wants to tariff everybody on everything, but the tariff level you apply should be clearly the lowest. It shouldn't be the same as other people. It should clearly be the lowest, because you have this added market protection. That's part of the negotiation. We weren't satisfied. Ultimately, we're on steel, aluminum, and related products, so-called derivative products. Think HVAC systems, nuts and bolts, anything that's Bombardier products, Bombardier recreational products. There wasn't enough movement. Then there's a separate issue, and I'll just stop with a sentence here, which was language which suggested restrictions in terms of our ability to execute trade deals, which would always be unacceptable to this government.
Follow-up.
What do you think their goal was there? What were they trying to do? And if I could just, as a second part, what were they asking on culture?
You can ask the first, not double follow-up. Since you asked, could you ask? I'm going to say no, you can't ask 3 questions. Look, sorry, now I've forgotten the first part of your question.
What was it in trying to get us gain more control over our trade policy?
Oh, why are they trying to do it? It's a power play. It's a power play, and becomes a question of sovereignty. Look, let's take a big step back. Big step back, and this is what is unfortunate about the situation we're in. We're here for the right reason, but it's unfortunate. Canada and America and our G7 partners, we think about a lot of issues the same way. We're concerned about excess capacity in non-market economies. We care deeply about forced labor, child labor. We want to, and I'll take that second example where absolutely, do we want to cooperate? Do we want to share information? We want to align our approaches and our implementation of those approaches. And was that potentially part of this deal? Absolutely. There's a host of other things where absolutely we want to work together. But when it moves into restrictions and using Canada effectively as more leverage for America, that, I mean, clearly, that's, Canadians wouldn't accept that. We're a proud, independent country. We've got the right values. We'll make our decisions about who we want to trade with and how, and including on how we work with the United States and other partners. Thank you.
Well,
Il y a un seul follow-up.
we'll have time for one last question.
Oui.
Dernière question, Chris.
Oui.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Chris Bernardi from the National Post. The government to date seems, at least publicly, to have been very reluctant to wield critical minerals and energy as a weapon as part of this trade war. Is that going to change now? Are those on the table?
We have a range of other options to protect our industry. You know, first and foremost, what are we looking to do with our counter tariffs? It's to protect industries that are disadvantaged by the American trade action. So we start with that, and then we think about matching in ways that have the least negative impact on Canadians. We don't like doing these, but in this environment, it makes sense. One of the things that's happening, I'm going to answer your question this way. One of the things that has happened over the course of the last 12, 18 months is that we have considerably ramped up development of critical minerals. Without a doubt, I can't put a precise number on it, but much less of that development has been related to the United States than it would have been if we were not having these trade issues. It is clear to Canadians the value of diversifying our partnerships. And it's clear to Canadians that, I'll say something, it's clear to Canadians that a pipeline to Asia that exports oil to Asia, or an LNG facility that exports LNG to Asia, is more valuable than just the dollar value because it helps diversify our economy, our partnerships. It makes us less dependent on the United States, less. I mean, I'll just state the obvious there. So I'm putting that in. I'm taking your question transparently and turning it to the positive of how we act to build out this, as opposed to pulling relationships that already exist, and restraining them. But we'll see.
Last follow-up. Dernière question.
Probably double barrel it because it's the last one. But first, do you plan on? I know.
I can't now. You're
squeezing water out of a rock.
Tom tried that. It's.
Do you plan on reviving certain measures?
What do you have to say concerning this video? I strongly believe that you had everything. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let's know what you think. I really appreciate your time for watching. See you in the next one, and bye.